Hi there, we're just doing a small interview with Hirschy, and we're just finding out about a little bit of his background. So one of the first questions we've got for you is when did you first start being around the cricket scene?
Well, Tom, it's a long time ago, but probably I was a bit of a clown. Is that I was more interested in my sport than I was my schoolwork, and my dad was a very good country cricketer, so I don't know, when I started hitting cricket balls, and with my cousin Peter Just, we just constantly played cricket non-stop in the holidays, whenever we could do. So that was a big thing to me, going and watching my father play in the country in the outback where there was no grass on the grounds and it was like bloody concrete, on concrete wickets, and he was a good player, and then we'd go along and practice. And then at 12, the schools run out in the country, in the outback, so you literally go to one of the big country towns. Well, my father, or mum and dad, sent me to a boarding school in Perth called Hale, which was pretty good for cricket, and probably the reason I went there was because of cricket, not the education, which it should have been the other way around. But anyway, I went there and had people like Derek Chadwick and a bloke called Paul Kerry, who played for Surrey just after the war. Lots of people, and Patrick Holmes, who was coached the first 11 side, and Brian Gibney, who played for Surrey and played hockey for England. So I had these good coaches, and that was a help, and plus my love of cricket. So, and then with my dad, he'd always take me to the Wacker. He'd probably have a few beers with his mates, and I'd sit up there in the grandstand and watch the Shield players or the touring sides. So that was my big introduction to cricket. And then my dad, I sort of stupidly didn't do any work, so I left school at 15. And went back to the farm, which I sort of regretted in some ways. And then I was in for to go with a young Australian tour to South Africa, and missed out on that, which probably I was a bit young. And then Trevor Paxton, the guy who had a shop in Worthing, who was a good wicket keeper. So I arranged, so I went down to play for Fremantle at 15 years of age. And being an East Fremantle supporter, and the Dockers weren't going those days, played a few games in the seconds, and they were a very strong side, and played A grade when I was 15, which probably looking back wasn't a good thing, but I was proud of myself because not many people played at 15, but I hadn't learned to make runs, so I became a 20s man like a lot of young boys, and my first thing was they can't drop me because I've made 20, so that was my introduction from schoolboys in the outback, where I think we only had 20 or 30 kids at the school. Practiced every morning break and lunchtime, and then went to Perth and then on to Fremantle. So that was my start of my cricket career.
Okay, so so that was in Australia, and then apparently you've done some coaching either overseas or with schools. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is it's probably living in Australia. The radio was a big thing to us, or the wireless, and we used to listen to Wimbledon. We listened to the Test match. So as a young boy, I always thought, and we used to hear about the Lancashire League and some of the good West Australian players going over and playing against some of the good West. So I always wanted to come to England to play cricket as a dream. So and then I played club cricket, and then I spoke to a few players, and eventually I was lucky that I got offered a contract. And at the same time, David Gow was his first year playing in Perth, and I got on really well with him, a really good bloke. And I was going to stay with his mum and play some seconds, but then I got a phone call to play up in the northeast. So I came and played in a place called Gateshead, just out of Newcastle, and worked on a golf course in Durham City, which is a gorgeous city. And all of a sudden we ran into a bloke that was looking for a coach at Durham School. So that was sort of the start of my coaching side, and I think I've always been interested in coaching. And in the country, when I broke my leg when I was very young, I sort of ruined my cricket career for about 3 or 4 years. I coached the local football side, so it's sort of, I enjoyed that part of getting people to improve, and then coaching at Durham School, which was really enjoyable with a bloke called Bill Allen and Nick Wallings. And so that got me into coaching, and then going back to Perth, and then when you're offered to coach an A grade side, generally you're not fighting with many people, and Fremantle couldn't find a coach, so at a young age they offered me the coaching job. So that was sort of started, and I coached there for 4 or 5 years. And then I got an offer to go and coach the Northern Territory, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not because I still love going to England. So anyway, I finished up. I think it was, I don't know what government it was. Might have been the Hawke government or the Kenyan government. Or might have been, I don't know who it was. Anyway, there was cutbacks. So the Northern Territory sort of paid me as a cricket coach, and then I didn't have the money, so I didn't go to that Darwin. But I don't know if I wanted to go because I had this great connection with England. So that carried on for years, and then I sort of got free then probably after 5 years had enough of me or whatever it was. So I was going to go to Darwin. So then I didn't have a job in Perth, and then I was offered a few jobs, and I decided to go to Melbourne. And the main reason was the bloke that came and asked me didn't have a son playing, where the 4 or 5 other clubs, the parents, the president, was a father, and he said, well, what's the batting line and all this, mate? Talk more about the son of the team, and I didn't want to work under that structure. They were all nice people. So I coached Melbourne for 3 or 4 years, and really enjoyed that with a bloke called Ron Booth and all these kind of good young blokes from Melbourne, and we did really well. So that was a big improvement for me as well. And then a guy I'd worked with in Durham went to Wesley, so a famous cricketer called Tony Locke was coaching at Wesley, then retired, and then they offered me the job there, so I worked there for 3 or 4 years. And then Christchurch, the deputy headmaster Ray House brought a team out here with lots of boys, and we played, and then they'd seen what I'd done in Durham, so they offered me a job. So I went to Christchurch for a few years, and then got married and decided to retire from cricket. And I married a gorgeous girl, but I gave my cricket up, and then I was always acting back to cricket. With her support, I went back to cricket and started coaching at Scots College, which then meant that I was really involved, every day, every morning. So that was a big thing to me, and even at one stage I worked for the Wacker for a few weeks, and Graham Wood got me a job working there a bit with sort of as a lackey for Justin Langer, and enjoyed that, sort of working with better players. And now I'm still coaching at Christchurch, with the school I did work for, and come back, and Graham Wood's in charge, so I sort of a bit of an offsider to him. So that was sort of my Australian side. I'm probably waffling on a bit here, but when I went to England, I again coached at a place called Durham School, which I've been there for probably nearly close to 40 years coaching there. And now a friend of mine, Mike Fishwick, does the seniors. I just do help him a bit in the junior teams, which I really enjoy, and then coached a lot of club sides around the place, like Newcastle and Time Out in Durham City, and worked at Durham University for, I think, probably part-time for about 3 years, and worked with the Durham women, and then I worked with the Durham Schools 19s for probably 10 years, going away with a guy called Nick Williams. So had lots of cricket sort of thing on the life, so and part I really enjoyed sort of thing. So. And then I started doing one-on-ones, running cricket coaching clinics, and one of our big challenges was a bloke called Andrew Zafer and myself. When at Durham School, we organised a trip from England, and we sort of didn't go with travel agents. We did all the work ourselves to save money, and we went and toured Kalgoorlie and Perth, and so for about 2 weeks, I think most boys had a wonderful time there, and a few worries for us, but it was a great experience for us, I think.
So you've been lucky enough as well, just quickly at the end, that you've done a bit of travel to a couple of places, haven't you?
Yeah, well, in the schools in England, they organise trips, and another friend of mine, Bill Allen, we organised, or he did more of it than me, we organised a trip to Barbados, and that was great. And then meeting Desmond Haynes and Tony Cozier was a famous announcer, and we played against all the school sides, and we stayed in a place called St John's, which was years ago, and we had a wonderful trip. And then Mike Fishwick, who's now running the cricket, we went to Antigua probably about 4 years ago, and that was amazing, really. I mean, the funny thing is, as most people know, the West Indies was the powerhouse for probably 20 years in cricket. And in Australia, they talk about the people not being interested in cricket in the West Indies, and when we got there, The interest was amazing. The young kids were wonderful. It's just that the facilities were so poor, and I think in Antigua, I think there's 3 test grounds, yet there's so many nets with no fences around. And the kids were really good, well-mannered, and they were so good to us. And it really, one thing that sticks in my mind is probably being a fatty, but one of our parents were great. Anyway, we had the bus to go back, and we had food organised for us, and it was pretty hot over there. And when they supplied the food, well, they always waited back for us, and then we scoffed ourselves and left a bit for the locals, probably not enough as we. And one of the ladies, Mrs. O'Brien, or Pam, came and running and said, "Hirschy, they're in the bins, they haven't got enough food." And well, to me, we felt so terrible that we were chucking food out, and not, we should have given them the food, and we should have let them eat first, but they were looking at us as guests. And it's funny, sometimes you go to these poor countries and you don't realise how poor they were. Both the boys had cricket boots on, they had up the tape, they couldn't afford to buy pads, and most of our kids had heaps of cricket bats sitting around the house, and we sort of should have taken more to give to them, and they were such good hosts and wonderful people. So that was my thing of the West Indies. But when I hear the test player saying that there's not enough money around, well, there seems to be a bit of money, but I don't know if it's spent properly. But so that was great. And then Michael organised a trip to Sri Lanka, and again, the people were wonderful. We played some really good cricket. Probably we weren't strong enough because took a first and second team. Our first team did pretty well, but our seconds were quite small, so we got thrashed there. And in some ways, they'd organised it, but we were playing some provincial Sri Lankan sides, and their second side, well, our second side was good kids, but were a very poor standard, so we didn't make much of a go there, but they were still really good. And it's funny, we were told that the average Sri Lankan gets about £50 a month to live on. And they were so friendly, so happy, and you sort of look at some of our boys and how much money they get in Perth, Australia, and realise that they're not happy. But the cricket was really good, and the players were really good, worked hard. And the big thing again sticks in my mind. There's boys training in really hot weather, and there's about 12 boys, hardly any teachers there, and they were working for 3 or 4 hours without anyone telling them off. We're generally over the home anyway. Within 5 minutes, you're telling people to bowl properly and not mess around. But their love of cricket. But I think again, in their love of cricket comes from that it's a job out of it, so they can get out of their lifestyle because of the money that they got. So that was a great thing, and then going back to cricket. So I'm a bit of a tragic, but I feel lucky in some ways that I've had such a wonderful time at the cricket, travelling, meeting so many nice people. A great love for the north east of England, and like going home. So, and most days going to cricket, enjoying it. So.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Hirschy. That was a great insight into a bit of background about yourself, and what the history you have with the game. And if you next time we're gonna add some more videos, and we look forward to seeing everybody progress on batting with Hirschy. Thank you.
Cheers.